Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the BTDY Racing Series race for the BTDY Cup. It is race number 4 of the chase, and Jeff Wright looking to win the first 4 races tonight. And it starts here in the lefts and right turns of Watkins Glen for the VSPEED at the Glen 100 here. And it is great to be with all y'all tonight in BTDY night in America this Tuesday night. And Watkins Glen, a wild racetrack that we've seen in our last and final road course of the season. And as well, joining here in the broadcast booth, I'm Alec Martinez, and joining me tonight is Logan Thurcad. Logan, great to have you here as my producer and co-commentator. Good to have you back in the booth. What are you expecting here tonight for this road course and these drivers here racing for points and championship?
Looking at the lap times in practice, I'm expecting a much closer race than what we've seen previously here at Watkins Glen with various other leagues, BTDY themselves, and a lot of really solid lap times. 12 seconds, 1 minute, 12-second lap times, all the way up to about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So a range of skill throughout the field here. It's going to put on one heck of a show.
I think it is, and qualifying just about to get done here, but we'll take a look at our track facts here. 2.45 miles of racetrack, almost about 2.5, just slightly under. A lot of elevation up through the S's from turn 1 up to 2, 3 and 4, and then of course the bus stop, one of the most famous corners in racing and in the NASCAR Cup Series, and then the carousel, long right-hander, and then down into the turn number 6, and then up into turn number 7 to complete a lap here at the Watkins Glen International. And it opened up in May 12th of 1956, held F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR races. And we'll go to our points here before tonight's race and look at Jeff Wright, who has won the last 3 races, has 9 wins on the season. One more win and he'll get to double-digit wins in a season. I believe it may have been done once, but I don't think it's been done many times. And 50-point gap over Keith Mayato, and a 52-point gap over Ronnie Osprey. That battle from second all the way back to 11th is pretty crazy. It's only 30 points, but from Jeff Wright to second, it's about a race worth of points.
It's all but locked up now for Jeff Wright. You know, he's got such a phenomenal lead going into the last couple of races here. I believe this is, like you said, race 4 out of the 8, so race 16 on 20 of the season. And to take home over half of those races we've completed so far, that's quite the feat. I'm with you. I don't think it's been done to hit double digits yet, but it's a good possibility here as we've got just still a couple races to go.
I think that is a great possibility as qualifying has just wrapped up, and we'll look at our race schedule here. Watkins Glen this week, next week Dover, then New Atlanta, probably the biggest wild card of the season here, or at least of the playoffs. Then Bristol, the newly updated Dover as well, and then the championship race at Auto Club, which we know possibility of the championship will be wrapped up, but nonetheless there'll still be a race to go. As man, what a great venue to come at here. Watkins Glen, such a unique racetrack to be at, and in my opinion, the best road course we go to on the schedule. And man, oh man, is this going to be a good race here tonight, as the starting grid here for tonight's race is going to go up here just a second, as qualifying did conclude, and that will put Brody Hayes on the pole with a 113.167. So he got that by almost over a half a second, or half a tenth, over Jeff Wright, who's going to roll off in second, the points leader, with a 113.206. Row number 2 has Ronnie Osmer and Dennis Fairclough in the 80, who has been consistent this year and one of the best road course racers in the series. Then row number 3 has Chris Samard and Keith Mayato rolling off 5th and 6th. Mayato, good to note that he was the winner at Mid-Ohio, our first road course race of the season. Then row number 4 has Caleb Weekly, and making his season debut tonight, Ryan Phillips in the 27. Then row number 5 with Jake Mackey in the 13, and Cody Atkins rolling off in the 55 and 10.
And to bring up the back half of our field, only 18 cars out here tonight for the road course, but sitting in 11th to start the race, Benson Weaver in the 01, next to the 14 of Todd Giles Jr. 13th will go to Ray Massey in the 23 with no qualifying effort, next to the 63 of Max Cost. 15th, Noah Mahalski in the 03, next to the 46 of Dallas Sullivan. Last but not least, we've got James Loveland in the 02, starting out in 17th, next to the 65 of Jace Cully. So not a whole lot of...
Hey, 18 cars. Not bad for a road course this late in the season. And hey, like, what do we always say? Short field, but never short on action. I think that's going to be the race here tonight. These cars, these turns, this combo is something that I've always enjoyed. It's going to be very interesting to see who can get the jump and get in that clean air. Brody Hayes, Jeff Wright, can he go 4 in a row? That hasn't been done in a while. So can Jeff Wright win 4 in a row? And he'll have done it on 2.5 miles, a short track, and a road course if he can get it done here tonight. But this is going to be a tough task because Brody Hayes, solid lap times. I got to ask you, Logan, who is your pick here tonight to win this race here on the road course?
You know, I hate to just go with the guy that set the pole, but Brody Hayes was looking so strong in practice, on top of the consistency that he put down in the practice session too. You know, that's a big thing for me, especially at road courses. However, I'm going to go with an oddball pick here. I'm going to go with that 20 of Ronnie Osmer sitting 3rd.
I like that. That's a good pick. He was up there at Mid-Ohio as well. You know, I'm going to go back It's got a little bit of ways to go up, but that stage caution at lap 12, and to remind everybody, there will be 2 stages, one the first 12 laps and then to the end. I think Keith Mayato is currently the best road course racer. No Adrian Stravato in here, so I'm going to give Keith Mayato the nod here, and I think from 6th, it's going to be possible for him, but we got to watch out for guys like Dennis Fairclough, who's solid on these road courses, and of course, Brody Hayes looking for that first win of the season, Jeff Wright looking for his 10th, Ronnie Osmer looking for his first ever win here in the series, so you never know what can happen, but I think we're in for a good show here. 100 miles or so to go here at the Watkins Glen International, and it's going to be Brody Hayes and Jeff Wright leading the field for 40 laps here at one of the world famous road courses in all of the world. Your green flag is out, Barney's waving the flag, and we are underway for race number 4 of the chase. Go up to the S's. Driver's left is Jeff Wright. Brody Hayes sends it in. Now they'll go up the hill where Wright will have the preferred racing groove, but Hayes powers off. Can he keep it? Yes, he will, and he'll take it from Wright. Will Wright try to cross him over into the bus stop as everybody single files out? It's Hayes with the lead, and now it's followed Wright, Fairclough, and now Samard, then Osmer, and then Mayato here, the top 6. Through the bus stop they go, and Hayes opens up 4 car lengths into the carousel.
Great jump out to the front for Brody Hayes. One thing to mention that we have on the schedule for tonight is a stage caution at lap 12. So keep that in mind whenever we start turning some laps through here. It will be stacked back up well before the end of this race.
Ronnie Osmer had a moment. Mayato had to check up. Weekly now gets to driver's left of Keith Mayato, but won't be able to complete the pass into turn 7 and down to the front stretch. And it's Brody Hayes going to lead lap 1, followed by Wright, and then Fairclough up 1 position into 3rd. Here is into turn 1. Hayes continues to lead. Now this part, the most critically aerodynamic part of the racetrack, up into the S's. Jeff Wright going to feel the effects of the dirty air going up the hill, but can he combat that and battle that and set Brody Hayes up for the bus stop? As you can see, Wright just loses the nose in the wake, and we'll have to wait another couple set of turns, and Jeff Wright continues about 3 car lengths back, and a second already back is Dennis Fairclough.
Oh, at the beginning there, too, I believe I saw a car go off into turn 1. I see the 46 does have a black flag. I think that was indeed Dallas Sullivan.
Is destroyed already, and he is coming through, and I think there might have been some contact with him and, Max Cost on the opening lap.
Not what you want to have in a 40-lap race. Early exit.
And unfortunately, I think Dallas Sullivan might be out of the race with that damage, and so is Jace Coley. Also has some damage in the 65, but doesn't seem to be slowing him down too much because he has gotten up through the field just a little bit. And Coley, one of those drivers we saw battling for the win, I believe, at Mid-Ohio. I'll have to recheck that, but I want to say Coley was up there racing for that win there. But this Caleb Weekly got by Ronnie Osmer, who's lost a couple spots.
Yeah, my pick isn't faring too well off this race start. Hopefully he'll get it figured out here and put something together after that stage caution.
He's gonna definitely have to, because right now it looks like he's just struggling to get the power down here, and at top 5 starting to really open up that gap from 6th on back.
Got a 1.5 second gap right now for Wheatley to Mayato. The rest of the field kind of falling back as we go. Ronnie Osmer obviously in the picture there for that 6th place position. Ryan Phillips about a 1.5 seconds back from that. We got Ronnie Osmer looking to challenge to the inside here in the penultimate corner. It's going to get the advantage, and he make it stick on the exit?
He does, and he gets the spot back up to 6th. Jace Coley back up to 10th, got by Cody Atkins, and now setting his eyes on Jake Mackey in the 13. And look, I believe you did have something for Jake Mackey here tonight in that scheme that he's running.
Yeah, there's a special meaning to that paint scheme for the 13 of Mackey tonight. Figure whenever we come to that stage caution after we get through our pit cycling, back outpacing on the lap will bring him up for that special message that he has for us tonight, Alec.
Absolutely, yeah, but Matt doing a good job running inside the top 10 ahead of Ryan Phillips. And Phillips, a new driver in the BTDY Racing Series. This is his first career start in the Racing Series, and he is running inside the top 10, running an 8, so not too bad for the 27 car.
Not too bad of a start. Started out in 8th. He's holding position right now. 7th, 8th, and 9th have not moved from where they started. Jace Coley, though, up 8 positions from 18th to 10th on the start of this race. Just coming around to start lap 5. That's a lot of movement so early. It'd be very interested in seeing what the 65 can do after the restart.
That is for sure. And like we said, Coley was up there, finished, I believe, in the top 5 at Road America, or excuse me, Mid-Ohio, behind Chris Samard, I believe, and Keith Maiato, and he did just a really, really good job. And like you said tonight, already up a couple positions. Mahovsky getting by Cody Atkins there for 11th on the racetrack. But Coley, I think, a really good road racer, and obviously on a road course tonight. But I always thought Watkins Glen's kind of the speedway of road courses. It's fast. It's a little bit slick, but really the fast part's probably the fastest road course you'll be on in most of the series. The bus stop, have to take that so aggressively, that line over the curbs, you know. But Coley, very good road racer. I'm curious to see how much ground he can gain up before that stage comes. He's got a run here on Jake Mackey here for 9th. He's going to see a battle for 3rd developing between Chris Samard and Dennis Fairclough.
Samar's slowly been inching closer to the back bumper of the 80 here. Had it within about 0.3 of a second. Now he's fallen off about double that to 0.6, around the half-second mark plus. Definitely one to keep an eye on here between Fairclough and Samard. If these two get to battling too hard, that'll give Keith Maiato a chance to enter back in to a better position in the top 5. A little bit of a lockup there for Dennis Fairclough into 1.
And you don't want to hurt the tires as well, although you can really abuse the tires this run because you don't got that much laps to run on them. You know, it's different when you have a 25-lap run compared to a 12-lap run, so beat them up a little bit here, but these guys 3 seconds behind the top 2, right? Only a half a second behind Brody Hayes. I'm curious to see, you know, the lap times are really even, but right in dirty air, so could be the difference for Jeff Wright here is not being that clean air. How about Brody Hayes looking for that first win? Could have had it in New Hampshire, got taken out, and possibly could have won last week at Chicagoland. We never know how the strategy would have shaken out, but he was fast there, and man, it was a shame when he and Noah Mahovsky got into each other, and did a heck of a job. And how about this for 9th on the racetrack? Jace Coley moving up another position on Jake Mackey.
So got around the 13 machine just then. Let's take it back on the VSPEED instant replay. Take a look at the 65's move.
Really good run here, and bus stops can be one of those places you can set somebody up for the carousel, which is a corner you can attack. See, Mackey goes wide, Coley just dips, points the car underneath him, and when you have the inside advantage under the carousel there, it's pretty easy to get the run off and just clear them here once you get down to the short sheet. But Coley really good speed for where he started. I think you said he started 18th, and man, up to 9th, up 9 spots already. Oh, Cody Atkins around in the back off of turn number 1. Somehow didn't catch the tire barrier or the guardrail, but did a great job not making that worse of what it could have been. Wheel hop did there.
Just a little bit of wheel hop, got the back end unsettled there. A great collection, though, by the 55. Like you said, narrowly missing that tire barrier.
Yeah, that could have been a really bad situation. Now he's fallen back to the 1 of Benson Weaver and the 63 of Max Koss battling. This is 16th, 17th, 15th, 16th, and 14th as well. So, thought guy was a little bit more behind them in about 4 or 5 seconds back in 17th. But, man, that was a great save there out of Cody Atkins. How about this? That's Ryan Phillips and Jace Coley here. And Coley continues his march up to the front here. He almost catches the retaining wall on the outside of turn number 7, and now he'll set up the 27 if he can into 1. Thinks better of it as they go into turn number 1. But ooh, whoa, man, Phillips wheel hops in at one, and now Cully goes by, and so does Mackey, and so does Mahalski, and really slowed it down there. I don't know if there might be an issue for the 27, but slows it down a lot and loses a couple spots, 3 spots.
Well, getting out that wide, you know, it does get very, very loose out there. A lot of marbles, a lot of, you know, just overall debris way past that curbing, so could have been a traction issue there for the 27. We're just playing it safe, get back in line. He knows that they're going to stack back up here in about 4 more laps.
Could have been Mahalski ate a little bit curb there, but got by Jake Mackey, and now the battle for the lead heating up a little bit. Brody Hayes, Jeff Wright, 2 car lengths, now less than a car length, separating these two, and Wright starting to show the long run pace that we're so used to seeing here on Tuesday nights. And Wright back down through the gears. You want to go from 3rd to 2nd. You can see gains a lot on the edge of the corner, but wheel hops a little bit, and it just struggles here. Now, this is the part of the course that you got to be careful when you're behind somebody. You get behind somebody here, you can lose a couple tenths just being in the dirty air of the car in front of you here. But this time he's going to get a big run down this straightaway, or can he get to driver's right and send it into the bus stop?
See, no look to the inside. He's going to elect to stay behind Brody Hayes here. Hayes keeps it tight to the inside of the bus stop. Let's see what he's got for the carousel.
Couldn't do it. Hayes gives him a little clean air, but Wright seems to just drive in a little bit deeper. But now the run off goes to Brody Hayes off of the carousel. And these two 4 seconds ahead of Dennis Faircloth and Chris Samard, who just don't seem to have the pace that these two have.
It's always tough, you know, you got 2 guys battling ahead of you. You've got somebody battling yourself from, you know, just a couple seconds behind or a half second behind, however you want to look at it. It's, it really puts the weight on your shoulders as you're trying to navigate a road course, really anywhere, but Watkins Glen, always challenging.
It is, and man, Wright really misses the corner there, goes wide, has to gather back up, but he's going to lose a lot of valuable time. And still, we talk about the march that Jace Coley's on. He's now setting up Caleb Weekly for 7th on the racetrack in turn number 1. And Noah Mahalski seemed to find on a little more pace as well. And that is a great 3-car battle here for 7th. Just see what the 65 can turn when he's in clean air. He's been obviously in traffic. He's got a little bit of gap. He's got about a 7-second gap to Ronnie Osberg in the 20 here, if he can get by the 13 before that stage caution comes out, which should be within the next couple of laps here. So Coley would probably want to make sure he gets 1 extra spot before he gets into pit stops.
Not to mention the damage on the nose of the 65. You can see it's concaved in the middle there. It'd be, I don't know, is it worth it to fix it during the pit stop and lose all the progress that you made? You know you've done it once, but to do it twice, it becomes more of a feat.
I would not recommend it. That's what I could tell you.
Up on the top here of the 65 of Coley.
That was a good word, concave. I like that. As here comes Coley to driver's right here of Caleb Weekly. Weekly just misses the corner here. Coley going to spin the tires down the front stretch. He just can't get under him. And Weekly is no easy pass. So Coley going to look around again, kind of poke the nose, let him know. Oh, he locks up the rears, and he sends Weekly up the track. Now they're side by side off of 1, and Coley able to make the pass and get by Weekly up through the gears and up through the S's. He'll clear him, and now here comes Mahalski behind Weekly as well.
Ooh, Mahalski gets loose, however, right behind. That's that arrow that you've been talking about going through the S's. Back end came around on that first left-hander there. He was able to collect it back up, but dipping the left side tires off into the grass, losing some of that momentum that he just had.
Did a really good job. Coley goes a little wide there, nothing too bad, but keeps his foot in it. And up to 7. What a charge for the 65 here today, and up into the top 7. Like we said, finished well at Mid-Ohio. Finished, I think, in the top 5, and could have a chance at the win with him and Dennis Faircloth, but just made some mistakes late in that race that cost him a chance when you got a guy like Keith Mayato around you here. But should be close to the end of the stage. I believe, next lap we'll get the stage caution, as 3 seconds the gap for Brody Hayes. Surprisingly, Jeff Wright has lost touch with the 37. And how about Chris Samard going for 3rd on Dennis Faircloth there, and he gets it up through the S's.
A good run down the front stretch into turn 1. A better drive off than the 80 machine. Puts Chris Samard just ahead coming out of the S's going into the bus stop. And Jeff Wright must have had a big bobble. Just noticed him barely ahead of Samard here on the picture. Now 3 seconds back from the 37 to Hayes.
Lap time fell off. I saw he turned to 16 where Hayes turned to 13. I think that might have been a little bit of the difference, unfortunately, for Jeff. So struggling now with the pace of that car. Maybe just a mistake. Decided to back it down a little bit and focus on the next stage and what he could do better and on this pit cycle here. As Brody Hayes will come off for the final turn, and he will conclude and win stage number 1 of the VSPEED at the Glen 100. But we will see how pit stops will fare for the 37 as stage 1 is complete, and they'll catch the pace car and then stay here for pit stops, and we'll go to a quick commercial break. But what a first stage here concluded, Logan. What are you thinking?
Well, unfortunately, my pick has fallen back quite a ways through the field. Started out there in third. He's still sitting in the top 10. Ronnie Osmer in the 6th position right now, but he'll have to change the way he's driving this course if he wants to get back up there to the top 3 and make my pick come true. But overall, we started to spread out a little bit quicker than I was expecting to see. But again, it all comes down to strategy here. You get some laps under your belt and see what the car will handle on that first run. Then you have to navigate the rest of the race on a different type of plan.
Yeah, it's very interesting, too, for how long can they go on fuel here as well. 80% fuel tanks. So what's going to be the difference? How are you going to be able to attack this next run? Can you save fuel and make it to the end? Or can you make it to the end all the way without having to pit? Or if you can't, do you just cut the race this next run in half?
No, I would have to say splitting it in half is probably your best option. That way you can get the maximum usage of both sets of tires if you elect to take them. And just also you have to keep in mind there are no green-white checkers on the road courses as there are no cautions. So you don't have to account for that. Just got to make it to the checkered flag.
Absolutely. And I'll say this as well. I mean, Brody Hayes only 6/10 worth of fall off. So not a lot of fall off. Obviously, you're going to want to get tires and fuel here, but not a lot of fall off for just a 12-lap run here at Watkins Glen. Normally used to seeing a little bit more, about a second and a half's worth, but not seeing that tonight as the field coming down pit road. This could be crucial. If you can't gain the spots on the racetrack, you can gain them in pit road here and get a couple more spots that are going to be hard to come by under green flag conditions here as Dallas Sullivan still sitting idle in pit road with that car heavily damaged and destroyed here. And here they come into their pit boxes. Who can get out first? And it's not going to be a whole lot for Brody Hayes to go if he can get out of here first here. And it looks like has right even with Jeff Wright at pit crew. Both pit crews going really good here. Let's see who will win the race off pit road. It's going to be Brody Hayes. Then it's going to be Chris Samard, Dennis Faircloth, and then it looks like Keith Mayotta, Ronnie Osmer, Caleb Weekly, and I believe Jace Coley is getting that damage fixed. Unfortunately for him, that's going to cost all that track position that he got. Well, he's going to have to get it back again because he just lost it.
He does, but he's done it once. He can do it again. Just got to keep that nose clean this time. I assume that the 65 picked up that damage from turn 1, lap 1. You saw the contact between Max Cost and Dallas Sullivan. So it's maybe try to rewrite the storybook here on this restart for the 65.
And we know this restart is going to be a little more aggressive because we saw how much track position matters. We knew track position will matter a little bit, but we did see, and again, that this track does tend to, just the speeds, the aero does matter, but this track does create crazy restarts, and we know no cautions, so this race could get a little wild and a little crazy here. And Jeff Wright maybe had some for Brody Hayes. I'm curious, will he have anything here on this run?
Very interesting to see. But Alec, while we've got a second, we mentioned the 13 machine kind of running a special paint scheme tonight. How about we take this moment to pull him up and see what it's all about? Yeah,
it's a great idea. Let's see if we get Jake Mackey in here. And there he is. Jake Mackey, Alec Martinez, and Logan Thurkel in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Hey fellas, how you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. Hey, well, we're running, looks like you're running out here, having us all run inside the top 10. And we noticed your paint scheme, a special paint scheme. Can you tell us a little bit about that and all the people watching on what your paint scheme's all about?
Well, so I like to keep it fresh for you guys and change it up every week, but this week is a little special. My uncle, Jeff, he works in NHRA for Kalita Motorsports, had a major health scare last Monday, driving home from the Gator Nationals, so decided to do a special paint scheme here tonight, running the car that he works or would work for, which is Sean Langdon's Top Fuel car, and just trying to show him support wherever we can and hoping he pulls through, and yeah, I'm wishing the best for him.
Absolutely. Hey, well, we wish your uncle the best, and you know, the Kalita scheme always so iconic in the NHRA. So great looking scheme, Jake, and we'll be praying for your uncle, and our thoughts are with him. And like I said, good looking scheme out there.
Thank you, fellas, and yeah, best of luck with everything, Uncle Jeff. We're rooting for you. Hope you pull through everything, and we love you, man. So I appreciate you guys here at VSPEED for giving me this opportunity to speak, and yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, well, we appreciate your time there, Jake, and wish you the best, and best of luck here at the end of this race here.
Hopefully I can pull a top 10 off here tonight. We'll see.
Absolutely. And you're in the Simulators Anonymous one, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good to know. All right, thank you, Jake. Well, appreciate your time, man. Wish you the best. Good luck out there.
All right, thank you.
That's Jake Mackey, driver 13. We're going to be praying for his Uncle Jeff there, who works for that Kalita team in NHRA. And, you know, talking about the forces and the Kalitas, man, that is signature NHRA. You know when those names pop up, you think, oh, drag racing.
Yeah, that's first thought as soon as I saw that paint scheme entering the session tonight. And obviously a little bit of a heads up there on what the paint scheme was going to be, but spent years watching NHRA and, of course, NASCAR as well. So just one of those names that you hear and you know what it's all about.
Absolutely here, and double filed up. So that means we got a restart here, and Brody Hayes, Jeff Wright, top two still remain the same. Can any of these guys rival with them and keep up with them here in this next run? Can Wright maybe get by Brody Hayes here as the pace car pulls off and they'll get into the restart zone? And oh man, can anybody beat Brody Hayes or Jeff Wright? Into turn one they'll go. Wright got a heck of a start. I'm surprised that he was able to get such a good start. Hayes locks the rears, slides up, almost hits Wright, but he gives Wright clean air, and that could be all she wrote for Brody Hayes, as there goes Wright into the lead.
Yeah,
Battle
big
for third,
time
yeah.
move for Jeff Wright, and a huge jump off that restart. Like you mentioned, that is everything that he could have wanted right there.
Surprised by that. It was a very early jump. How many jumped the restart, but you normally don't see the second place car get that good of a restart here, and he timed it just about perfect. And now Brody Hayes gonna have to find a way to get around him, but clean air versus dirty or with the car that's faster, just unless Brody Hayes can find some pace here, this could be Jeff Wright looking at 4 in a row already.
That would be detrimental to the rest of the point standings already coming into this race with a 50-point lead. Got to start clawing away somehow, and it looks like Keith Mayato is going to take a look to the inside. Decides better of it, gets on the brakes a little bit earlier on the 20 of Ronnie Osmer. So they'll sort themselves back out here. Just about single filed out all the way through on lap 1.
Jeff Wright on an unreal run, and we saw it recently within the NASCAR Cup Series. Christopher Bell on 3 in a row, but this time Jeff Wright looking to go 4 in a row in the BTDY Racing Series, and man, has he just been on it on every single type of racetrack. And I know he doesn't claim, you know, Watkins Glen's his track, but man, he's not bad here. Is Caleb Weekly having a little bit of an issue here? And how about Chase Coley with his restart already up to 9th?
A great jump for Coley there. Wish I would have kept better eyes on the 65 there on that restart. Would have been cool to see how he managed that. Had to be all of it through 1 and the S's.
Definitely a good chance, but he got a lot of spots here, and those top 2 still racing tight. Can Brody Hayes get back around Jeff Wright here and get that clean air? Because I think you give him 2 or 3 laps here. tires are going to wear. And oh, man, what a moment there for Cody Atkins. Great save. And now Coley to the inside of driver's left of Cody Atkins. And I think he's going to get the spot into 6 and does just that.
It's a big bobble again for the 55 machine. Able to collect it, though. Does lose that position to Jace Coley. It looked like he got loose there. Maybe tagged the wall as well coming out of the last corner.
Yeah, and, well, Jeff Wright's starting to pull Brody Hayes here just a little bit, and Hayes is struggling. I could tell he's trying. He's just pushing those rear tires a little bit too much, and Chris Martins has been able to keep up a little bit better than he has the last run, but still a 2.5 back of our leader.
They're switched position there in turn 1. Noah Mahalski got a good inside look of the 13 of Jake Mackey. Mahalski claims that 10th position on the podium for the time being. Pretty well spread out here, though, now through the top 10. Most of them by a half second or better already. Jeff Wright, Brody Hayes being the closest battle within the top 10.
Guys, Jeff Wright looking to do a little bit of history where he can just win the most races maybe in a single season in BTDY. I gotta have to check in what the record that is, but I think Jeff's definitely inching closer and closer to it. Especially with this win, he'll get up to his 10th win of the season. But Brody Hayes, he's desperate for that first win, and he's not letting Jeff Wright go here. And the question remains, how is fuel looking for the rest of these drivers?
That would have been a good question to ask the 13 while we had him up in the booth, just to get some insight from the drivers. But I would still suspect we're very likely going to see a fuel stop here still. There's no way they can go 24 laps or so.
I think it's possible. I know the next one's a little bit bigger tank, but they can go about 27, 28. So,
but that 80% fuel load.
That is true. That's the thing. I don't know. I think that's the big question mark is, can they go that far? Man, Brody Hayes really good through the bus stop here. Closes up on Jeff Wright, but I feel like these are the passing opportunities. After the bus stop, do the carousel, into 6, into 7 are your best opportunities because those S's, you lose a lot. One's a great opportunity to pass if you can get a run down the front stretch, but you got to be somewhat close when you get to the S's because you're going to lose a lot of time here. Now, how about this? James Loveland up to 6th here, battling Ronnie Osborne. I'll tell you what, this battle for the lead, Jeff Wright just got the bumper put to him, but that actually did the opposite and helped him.
Nearly the same thing here for the 20 of Osmer, all over the back bumper of James Loveland.
He's trying, and how about, Loveland, really solid speed in this second stage. Up to 6th, good run for him, and goes defensive a little bit. Now Coley closing up here to the 20.
Yeah, so another driver that started in the back row of this race being Loveland. He's up 11 positions. Coley up just 10 now after restarting from the back once more. Man, that 65 has some speed here at the Glen.
Guys, I've been curious if he hadn't pit with damage, where he could have ended up maybe on that restart because he's got really good pace. A 13.6. He was actually faster than Jeff Wright and Brody Hayes, so honestly, he might be the fastest car on the racetrack. I just wonder how much, he's 7 seconds behind, and he's got to make a lot of passes. Can he do it? I don't think he's going to get up there, and obviously no caution to bring him closer together, but it's going to be hard here as Mahalski getting by the 55 of Atkins, and then Keith Mayata just made a pass on Dennis Fairclough for 4th.
So you've got the 2 spots that are the best passing opportunities on complete opposite ends of the track, turn 1 and the carousel. That's there's other spots that you could go for, but it's also outweighing the risk versus the reward.
Oh yeah, big risk to try to pass in the bus stop. You can do it, but it's tough to do that. And right now, Jeff Wright, that tires are starting to wear here, and that clean air is starting to become better and better for him. And now he's about a 0.7 of a second up on Hayes here. And that's bad news for the rest of the field to get the 48 clean air.
The 48 in the lead of this race with no lap traffic inside is just about the most dangerous thing that you can have, especially in the playoffs, Alec. This is crunch time for pretty well all of these drivers in the top 12. You're just kind of watching the 48 seemingly run away with it tonight is not helping.
No, it's not. And I'll be curious. Such a dominant season, and how does is BTDY going to go forward with the Xfinity cars next year, or are we going to have different cars? I wonder what's going to happen. But nonetheless, Jeff Wright's going to be good in every single car that he gets in. So, but man, what a season! This is definitely a historic season for Jeff Wright here. If he can win this race, and just no matter what, this championship that he's probably going to win, and he's probably still going to win another race or two. So whether he doesn't win this or not, it's just, man, what a season for the 48 team, and what a race here for him and Brody Hayes, and those two again just starting to gap the field now as we continue to click off laps.
Looks like a bobble now from the 03 of Mahalski in turn 1. Might have locked him up there. Got a little sideways. The 55 of Cody Atkins gets back around, reclaims that 9th position. But Mahalski not going to let him go easily. With all of that action, he was only able to get out to about 0.3 of a second. And this, I believe, is where Mahalski got around last time, was the exit of the bus stop. Took a quick look to the inside here on entry. Cody Atkins way wide and then shallow through the corner exit. He'll have a slowdown penalty for cutting that corner. There he goes wide. Mahalski to the inside.
Can't clear him.
Kept the spot.
Yeah, did a good job there, Cody. Being defensive in the carousel, in the bus stop. Although he missed the corner a little bit, but nothing too bad yet here is in the 6, now into 7. Behind the Mackey, not too far. And then how about Benson Weaver now? Up a couple more positions. Been figuring out the track a little bit better. He's ahead of Ray Massey and Max Cost up to 12th.
No qualifying time for the 23. Not working out right now. Been pretty well stuck back here in 13th since the start of this race. Hasn't really had a whole lot of opportunity to work up through the field like Chase Coley has. Ray Massey typically pretty solid at these road course races, if I recall correctly, in previous seasons.
Not been too bad on road course. They had a solid run at Mid-Ohio. It wasn't anything to brag about, but it was a good run. And that's one thing about Ray Massey. He's consistent. He was very good at Chicagoland last week. Got a 3rd place finish. So we talked to him, and after the race, post-race, and he said, "Well, I don't expect to be winning speed, but he goes, I think we can be in the top 10 here." He's a couple spots shy of it, but he wasn't wrong when he was saying he could be flirting with that top 10, and he is right now. He's a little bit behind Benson Weaver, Jake Mackey, and Cody Atkins.
Up a little bit further ahead, back into the top 10. Ronnie Osmer's kind of caught up, but a big slide through the last corner here. He's going to lose some of that ground to James Leflin that he just gained.
Good catch there.
Still only a half second back, and he's going to send it deep into the braking zone of turn 1. Sideways again for the 20 machine. He has no remorse for those tires whatsoever right now.
No, he does. I'll tell you what, Brody Hayes has found a little more pace in that 37 now, because he has caught back up to Jeff Wright, and he is so much better in the bus stop than the 48 is. It seems like the 48 goes a little bit wider. See how much Hayes already peeking the nose out. Uses a lot of curb, and right here, man, he just absolutely destroys the 48 in that section. Gains a whole car length or two there and does a great job. And we saw that run, right? Made a mistake, lost a couple tenths, lost a couple seconds, actually. But the question is, can Jeff Wright hold Brody Hayes off here if he can make another 16 or so laps?
That is the question at hand. Brody Hayes, this is about all over the bumper as you can get. You can see he's just sending it a little bit deeper into the braking zones, gets a little bit of ground there, loses just a touch on corner exit. Let's see how he sends it into turn 1 here.
And I'm thinking better of it here, and Jeff does a good job. Looks kind of like he sends it in hard, it gets the rear end loose, and then Hayes right here. This is the part I worry about with Brody. You just can't afford to push the car too hard, being in the wake, up the hill. Aerodynamics matter the most right here, but Brody doing a good job not losing too much time and just kind of staying right there with Jeff. He only loses a couple hundredths. And then right here, he could just gain it all back. And I just wonder, it takes one mistake out of Jeff Wright for Brody Hayes to really capitalize on making a move here. But that time, Jeff Wright did a much better job getting through the bus stop.
And Jeff Wright finally picked out the line that Brody had been using, used to his advantage this time. He regained some of that ground that he had. Brody Hayes still hanging around that half-second mark right now. A little bit further back, it looks like Noah Mahalski has caught up to the 65 Coming out of the carousel here, Jace Coley's going to get the run down the hill into the penultimate corner here. Nothing doing for the 03, but he got very, very close. He knows that the opportunity is there. It's just a matter of being there for the opportunity.
Ain't that the truth? And, you know, he's closed up. He's nothing too crazy, not too far off, but doing a good job here. And both these drivers solid. Obviously, Coley's been able to really move up through the field a lot and be pretty dang fast. But he's kind of stabilized in ninth a little bit, about 6 seconds off of Osmer, Loveland, Faircloth, who are all pretty tightly packed together from 5th and all the way down to 7th. So can he make up a little more time is the question. And we'll see if he can. And see, this time, Jeff Wright much better through the bus stop. But, man, Hayes is a little bit better, I'll tell you that. And Hayes 6/10 back to 4/10 back up on the bus stop. He's doing a good job. And Osmer just got by. Oh, James Loveland spun in the bus stop.
Oh, no.
Watch out, Jace Coley, Noah Mahalski, but big mistake there out of Loveland. Curious to see what happened to him, but he loses all that time and all that track position that he gained. Oh,
just
wow,
locked it up on corner entry there. Could have been worse, but way worse.
Could have been 2 cars in the guardrail there, but he did a great job not getting into it. And see, Osmer, I think, caught him off guard and wasn't thinking he was going to, make the move there, but just wheel hopped it, got a little bit down to the gears a little too soon, and car stepped around from under him, and he went around, did a good job not, hooking it and doing a full spin. He just got it back in the right direction here, and back on track, back to 9th.
It's not too bad of a bobble there. Obviously not what you want to have.
Yeah.
Overall, he's moved through the entire field, so he's got some positions to play with.
Ooh, this could be a possibility here. Now Hayes closes right back to the back bumper of the 48 right, but can he get enough to make Jeff Wright make a mistake, which is very rare to see, or can he just find a way to get into the right part of the racetrack to set Jeff Wright up for a pass? He looks like he actually has a little more pace here, and we'll see, can he set up Jeff Wright into turn 1 here. Oh, he clips the grass there, but does a good job. Look at how much time he didn't lose much.
No, but it's going to be this long straight that you'll see that gap start to develop here. Although it's not really moving on the timing and scoring.
No.
Wouldn't.
Oh, both missed the corner there. Both missed the apex, but Jeff does a good job straightening out the exit, but Brody uses a little bit more of that runoff, and, fair game here at BTDY, and no track limit rules, and doing a good job. You can see Jeff Wright using a little more curb up to the S's, and I think that is showing that he's struggling to turn that car, so you got to use the curbs here. And this part of the racetrack right here, Brody is just so much better. Can Jeff Wright make a mistake to allow Brody to get under him in the bus stop like that? Because if he misses it, look at how much time Brody gains, almost right to the back bumper of the 48.
That was a perfect camera angle there to have for the gap closure rate that Hayes had there through the bus stop. That was a much cleaner pass there for Brody Hayes.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff's just missing maybe the first part of the bus stop there, but this right here in 6, Brody's a little bit better, and then 7, it just depends who hits the corner right, but Brody seems to be better on the exit of 7 as well. This time, we'll see both spinning the tires, but Brody keeps right with them, and if Jeff just spins the tires a little bit too much and Brody gets that run, he'll be at least to have an opportunity to pass into turn 1. And how aggressive will Brody Hayes be to get by Jeff Wright is the question, because Brody has not won. Jeff Wright's won 9 of these things.
And Jeff, with the points lead that he has, he doesn't have to really consider risky maneuvers.
No, he doesn't.
A second place finish is only, 3 or 4 points less than a first place finish. Obviously, if you want to go for the lead record, you've got to go for the win. But at the end of the day, I would take a second place finish over a DNF.
Hey, who wouldn't? Is the question. And Jeff Wright, I mean, he could afford a DNF with how big his lead is, but we'll see. I know him and Brody Hayes, they race each other. They tend to race each other pretty clean, so we'll see how these two continue to go. And we're close enough to 10 laps to go here. Not this time by, but the next time by, we'll have about 10 to go. So can Brody Hayes work over Jeff Wright over these next couple of laps? It's just, I think what I'm seeing is going to require a mistake out of Jeff Wright, which, like we said, are very hard to come by. And that time, Brody did not have a good turn 7. He's going to lose a couple quick tenths here.
Well, as they come across the start-finish line to bring us to 11 to go, let's take a quick run through our field here as it sits. Chris Samard sitting in 3rd, coming across the start-finish line. Keith Mayato right behind. Ronnie Osmer in the picture, as well as Dennis Faircloth. Then we have a 6.5-second gap back to the 65 of Jace Coley, followed up by the 03 of Noah Mahalski. We've seen these two battling lap after lap here for at least the last 10. Pretty well ever since Coley had to restart in the back. James Loveland enters the picture here, coming through turn number 1. Cody Atkins, Jake Mackey, Benson Weaver all behind, as well as Ray Massey, Max Cost, and Ryan Phillips being our last drivers on the field. Todd Giles Jr., Caleb Weekly, and Dallas Sullivan all with early exits on the night.
15 cars still left on the racetrack here, and coming back to 10 to go in this top 2. Still, I think the biggest lead we've seen is 7/10 here at the beginning. I just wonder how much is Hayes really burning up those tires being behind the 48 here, and you can't move around, get clean air to the nose. You just can't. It's a road course. So how much has he burned up those tires? But man, he still looks like he has just a little bit more pace than the 48. But tire wear, man. Clean air versus dirty air, it's a big difference.
And we still don't know about the fuel. That's the beauty of it here, Alec, is, what if this is Hayes' plan to force the 48 to use up? He cannot save right now. He is under attack lap after lap right now by the 37. So he's got to use every single bit of fuel. There is no fuel-saving strategy going on right now for these two.
Yeah, I think with the way they're pushing, I would have to say it's going to be pretty hard for there to be any sort of fuel conservation, and I think they just might be barely good to the end, a lap or 2 laps to the good. So we'll have to see here, but man, good racing between these two. I know they haven't really been racing, but it's good to see the difference of variations of who's better at what part of the racetrack that they are, and you don't really see that a lot on the ovals, but man, on the road courses you can really tell.
It's only those technical ovals that you can really see who's got certain spots figured out, but these road courses, they're tried and true to test the driver's ability just all throughout. No 2 corners are the same.
Yeah, that's the beauty about a lot of the road courses, and especially that NASCAR goes to. I'm curious. I don't know if I've ever seen on VSPEED. Have we had a race at the Chicago Street Course?
I don't think that we have, but I do know that there is one on the schedule for a broadcasted league, so we will see it.
Yeah, so that'll be a very interesting race, because I think that track you could definitely tell who's got it figured out and who doesn't because of how close the walls are. Here, the walls are around you, but you're never really near them, only at a couple spots. But Chicago Street Course, man, there's a wall, a blind corner about every single one you go to.
Well, let me tell you, Alec, it is a league that I do drive in, not to give it away, but I'm not that excited. I still have yet to buy that track.
You gotta be kidding me. That is, I thoroughly enjoy. Watkins is probably my favorite road course, but man,
absolutely,
I love. I've began to take a little bit of a liking to road courses, and Sonoma's fun, Watkins Glen's fun, Road America. Fun track. I love Chicago. I think Chicago's such a unique racetrack. Not the biggest fan of COTA. I think it's all right, but I just, that's the only road course I feel like I haven't really gotten grasp of. But man, a lot of road courses these stock cars go to, they're always a joy to drive.
That they are. It's always a blast to get out there and see how these things handle, especially if you switch up what you're driving at the road courses. Take a GTP or GTD out there, see how that works, and the lines are totally different whenever you put a different car on the track. But there's one place that it seems to never change, and it's Watkins Glen. The same racing line is used here, just as you would in a GTP class.
Yeah, love GTPs, man. Those are fun cars, especially with this new update. I think they've made them drive a lot better and race a lot better. And I'm, getting more into road racing these days and sports car racing, and I do enjoy the GTPs. This is a good battle. How about Ray Massey, Benson Weaver going at it up the S's, maybe a little contact there.
Yeah, Max Koss just right behind, waiting for an opportunity between one of these two drivers ahead.
Go count out Ryan Phillips behind him. 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th on the racetrack, and into the bus stop. Benson Weaver leads them down, but doing a good job, doing a really good job being defensive here through the bus stop and into the carousel. And how about Phillips now getting close to cost?
That's kind of odd to see the 27 so far back in a road course race. I've met with him quite a few times on the road courses, and he's got a handle on it. Looks like possibly a connection issue for the 27 on the night. Playing it safe and staying in the back. Don't want to cause issues on your initial start to a new league, especially one such as BTDY.
Fair, and maybe it would be good to have him, here next year, and have maybe a guy like Benson Weaver, newcomers into this series, and see what they can do on Tuesday nights next year. Especially if we have a new car, or obviously the schedule and tracks, it'll be very interesting to see. How about Ronnie Osmer back up Keith Mayato, who's also reeling in Chris Samar? This could be a good battle for that third place position.
As we're coming up, we're right now 7 to go. Will be 6 at the line whenever Jeff Wright, Brody Hayes cross. Just a few moments. This one, it's got nearly contact for the 20 to that wall outside of the carousel. That was about as close as you can get. That 20 is surely missing some paint there on the driver door.
Nothing too bad. He's still gaining a lot of time on Keith Mayato, and back again for the lead. You know what I've noticed? That, these cars, they did update the road course tire for the Xfinity cars, and I'm noticing Hayes dropped off a little bit, but I think he went back to cool his tires. And here he is back again battling for Jeff Wright for the lead, and went 3/10 back up to the S's. And, now this field, even though it's a little spread out, they're starting to accordion back together just a little bit. And Hayes, like I said, not too far away from Jeff Wright here through the S's, and now up into the backstretch. Can he set up Jeff Wright in the perfect spot? He's got to have 5 laps to figure it out here. Just can he do it? Can Jeff Wright make a mistake? Can Brody Hayes set him up perfectly and get by him in the right corner here? Gives a little bit of a tire off the dirt, but keeps it going, but still hounding, still pressuring Jeff Wright. Any mistake he makes, he's going to be there. And behind them, Keith Mayato just struggling, Chris Samar struggling a little bit to keep pace, because here comes Keith Mayato and Ronnie Osmer behind them, and you can see them in your screen, in your frame. They're exiting the carousel.
That's a 3-car battle forming for third in the closing laps. This time by will be 5 to go here at Watkins Glen. Jeff Wright, Brody Hayes have led every single lap so far. The battle has never ceased at the front of the pack, and then we've got these little miniature battles here throughout the rest of the field. This one for third, we've got the battle between the 0163, the 27, and the 23. It's been back there for the 12th position, so all over the track. There's no shortage of action.
No, not at all. That tends to be the thing here at BTDY, even with the short fields that we've had this season. Still good racing, a lot of good racing. Chicagoland last week, probably best race of the season that we saw, and great racing, and been a very good, solid race here at Watkins Glen. Watching these guys attack this racetrack, and always good to see here. And 5 laps to go. Great battle for the win again. Can Brody Hayes set him up? Can Brody Hayes set Jeff Wright up and get by him here? And behind them, Chris Samar, Keith Mayato, Ronnie Osmer, those guys going at it for third.
The battle for a podium all over. We still have no clue who's going to take any one of these spots.
And who knows? What if these two in front, they do battle, and they do get to race, and they get together? This could be the race for the win. We've seen it happen before at Watkins Glen, so it is possible here. And now 4 to go. Can Brody Hayes find a way around Jeff Wright? How aggressive does the 37 get for this win?
How much has the 48 saved? At least in the sense of tires. You'd have to imagine by this point, if it was a fuel race, they'd already be in. Exactly. It doesn't mean that they won't run out of fuel out of the last corner, though. I've seen that happen a time or two as well.
Very well could, but we'll have to see what will happen here. If they have enough, I'd have to assume that both these two definitely have enough to get to the end. And remember, no caution, so no worry of an overtime finish, nothing like that. So we'll see here as, oh man, Brody Hayes gets a lot of curve there through the bus stop, but man, he still gains. How close can he get to Jeff Wright? Right, wiggling the back end there into the carousel. Just lost a little bit, and Brody Hayes going to have a little clean air to exit with, but can he keep up with Jeff Wright through 6 and through 7, a little higher paced corner? Can he just get the power down? Can he set up Jeff Wright here? No need to be fancy or cute, making, showing the nose. Just set him up right here. This time thought about it, won't do it. Jeff hits the apex right. Brody just misses it a little bit, but Jeff spins the tires on the exit.
That Brody got a really good run there out of the last corner. It's
Yeah, he's really good under braking.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Jeff Wright was able to extend that distance between first and second. Oh, Brody Hayes looking to the outside, trying to find a little bit more speed going through the S's here. Again, like you've mentioned multiple times, a dangerous spot to be so close to the back bumper. It's all about throttle control.
Yeah, Jeff missed it there, but then Brody just kind of crossed the wake a little bit, and it hurt him here. And this time, into the bust, that was the closest Brody's been to the 48. How can he set him up? Can he hit a good bust up? Although Jeff looking like he's having a really good one. Brody had a little bit of a better one, but not enough. Closes still about a car length and a half away from the 48. Coming to 2 to go here. Can he set him up? Jeff looks like he overdrove the carousel a little bit. And back here, 3rd, 4th, 5th going at it. These guys still not separated just as what the top 2 are. And into 6, into 7, Brody Hayes still pressuring Jeff Wright. Can he do anything? Jeff Wright maybe made a mistake there into 6. Can Brody capitalize off of 7 and into 1? And Jeff struggling. They're both struggling there. Look at that. Both of them sliding. 2 to go here at Watkins Glen.
That was that opportunity that Brody needed to keep those rear tires underneath the car and get a better drive off. But luckily for him, Jeff Wright doing the same exact thing. Both drivers loose. That's going to keep them just as close as they were going into it. Back through the S's one more time as we're 2 to go, Alec.
Yeah, Brody missed the beginning part of the S's, but man, he set up well for the second part of it. Can he keep that run going? Can he find a way around the 48? A lap and a half to go here from the Watkins Glen International Raceway. The VSPEED at the Glen 100. Into the bus stop they go. Right. Gets over, but here comes Hayes with the run, but he catches too much curb. Dips a tire in the grass, but he closes up to the 48 and through the carousel they go. Can Brody Hayes find a way? Does Jeff Wright make a mistake this time? Wright kind of missed the corner there. And now Hayes has a run down the short chute. Can he set him up for 6 or 7? Or does he have to wait another lap?
It's looking like it's going to be a last lap opportunity here for the 37. Stays tucked in behind the 48. Coming around to bring us to the white flag.
Missed the corner there. White flag. 1 more lap to go from Watkins Glen. Is it going to be a 4th in a row for Jeff Wright? Or is it going to be a first win of the season for Brody Hayes? Into turn 1 they go. Wright hits the corner perfectly. Hayes hits it perfectly as well. Uses a little more of the runoff area, and up into the S's they go. Wright clips the curb a little bit. Hayes doesn't clip it, but now can he set him up for the second part? He gets into the gas earlier. They go through the back stretch. Closes up 2 tenths. Now we're back to 3 tenths down the front stretch. Hayes peeks, shows Jeff Wright the nose, trying to throw him off. Into the bus stop they go. Hayes sends it in. Wright does as well. Hayes catches a lot of curb. Wright does as well as, and now here comes Hayes. Thought about the bumper. Now he gets into the curb. Goes Jeff Wright. He gives Wright the bumper. Off of the carousel they go. Shades of Busher and Van Gisbergen last year at Watkins Glen. In down the short chute they go. Can Brody Hayes set up Jeff Wright? Wright goes defensive into 6. Hayes has a run. Can he use the bumper into 7? Here they come through the final turn. Wright goes defensive once more. Hayes catches the curb. They slide off of turn 7. Hayes into the safer barrier, but it's not going to be enough. Jeff Wright goes 4 in a row at Watkins Glen, and Hayes comes across sliding around, and Chris Samard is going to hang on to 3rd.
Wow, that was quite the last lap there for Brody Hayes. He was so close so many times. Just couldn't quite get it there. It's like a little bit of a battle here between the 65 of Coley, who's going to edge out the 03 of Noah Mahalski. Jake Mackey makes a move in the last 2, but sends it into the wall here just after getting past the 55, a last-ditch effort for the 13. Now he's got to watch out for the 23 coming hot through the corner.
And that's could have been bad. Massey finally got by Benson Weaver, who has a run and looks to the right side. Won't get there. Massey 11th, Weaver 12th. Then Phillips and Koss come across the line. And it looked like Phillips maybe got into the wall there. But man, oh man, what a wild couple of laps there to the end. And man, Jeff Wright 4 in a row. Something I don't think I've seen in BTDY. And his 10th win of the season. What a dominant victory here, but man, what a battle. He had to fight for that one as well.
Yeah, that was no easy task for the 48 to hold off Brody Hayes for as long as he did. Pretty well ever since the restart. That was Brody Hayes was hot on the trail the entire time. But
Here it was.
Alec, what do you say we take it to a quick commercial break here from our sponsors, and then we'll get right back with our post-race coverage and interviews with our top 3 finishers.
I think that's a great idea.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the nurturing reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
And welcome back to the VSPEED at the Glen 100 at the conclusion of tonight's race. Jeff Wright has ended up victorious once again, 4 in a row, and he got right ahead of Brody Hayes in a fierce battle for the win in those couple last 5 or so laps. Then Chris Samard hangs on to 3rd, then Keith Maotto 4th. Ronnie Osmer was 5th, Dennis Faircloth was 6th. Chase Coley ended up 7th, with Noah Mahalski in 8th. James Loveland came home 9th, and Cody Atkins rounded out the top 10.
Behind our top 10, we've got the 23 of Ray Massey after driving through a couple cars there in the last couple corners. Good finish for him after starting out in 13th. The 01 of Benson Weaver takes home the 12th finishing position, followed up by Ryan Phillips in the 27. Max Cost in the 63 takes home 14th, followed up by the 13 of Jake Mackey in 15th. Then it's our early exits, the 14 of Giles Jr., the 7 of Weekly, and the 46 of Dallas Sullivan. Round out our 18-car field on the night.
Yeah, 18 cars, 1 caution being the stage caution. Hayes won the first stage. Jeff Wright won the race, but behind those 2 was Chris Samard, who had to hold off hard-charging Keith Maotto and Ronnie Osmer, and we'll get him up here. Chris, Alec, and Logan, the VSPEED booth, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, a solid run for you. Started 5th and end up 3rd. Had to hold off a hard-charging Keith Maotto and Ronnie Osmer. Take us through your race, and maybe what more did you need to get to the 37 and 48?
Well, I was saving gas that whole last run. I didn't know if the top 2 was going to make it. I don't think I had the car capable of staying up with them anyways, but I was just saving as much as I could because I was 0.4 to the good coming to the line. So I just was trying to save as much as I could, and I think saving gas kind of hurt me there because I kept hitting the wall out of the S's, and that wasn't very good. So
Well, it happens. Well, 2 good runs in a row for you here these past few weeks. Next week, go out to Dover. How do you feel about backing up to top 3, maybe with another one next week at the Monster Mile?
Oh, that'd be nice. I've had pretty decent runs the whole playoffs. Just everyone else that's up in the points, they're finishing ahead of me. But I'm happy with getting fourths and thirds and fifths, and it's just really tough when you get into the top 7 or 8 guys. It's just very, very tough to get in the top 5. So I'm happy with where I am right now, and I don't think unless Jeff has like the rest of the races being bad, I don't think anyone's going to catch him. But we'll never know.
Never know, of course. But I think other than Jeff, you've been probably the most consistent. So not too bad, but good run for you there, Chris. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here tonight for that run?
Just you guys up in the booth. You guys do a great job every week. I love going back and watching the races. My teammates, obviously. Just shout out to Seth Hatchell. Hope he's doing good, a little better, and hopefully he beats this thing. So, and my wife and son. So.
Absolutely, Chris. Well, we appreciate your time, man. Congratulations on 3rd place finish, and of course, like you said, we are praying for Seth as well, and hope if you are watching, brother, we're rooting for you. But thank you for your time, Chris. Again, congratulations on the 3rd place finish, and we will see you next week at Dover.
Thank you, sir. Have a good week.
You too. And that's Chris Samar, 3rd place finisher. We'll move up just here to 2nd place finisher, Brody Hayes. Brody, Alec, and Logan in the VSPEED booth, buddy. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, man, a hard-fought battle between you and Jeff there for the win. What more did you maybe need to stay ahead of Jeff or maybe get by him there in those closing laps?
Honestly, I just needed to not screw up that restart. I blanked on where the green came out, and I was trying to wait as long as I could and then go, and I waited too long, and he was able to be next to me going into 1, and I wheel hopped, and as soon as I wheel hopped, that was all it took. I knew if I could stay in front of him, the dirty air was just enough that it would kind of hold him back there. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was a fun race. I'm sure it was fun to watch. Adding in the fuel saving and still trying to race each other was exciting. It sucks being that close to someone who's won 9-10 races, whatever this season is, and to have the pace to beat them outright and not do it is it's really disappointing. But yeah, oh well.
It happens, man. But I'll tell you this though, next week, how do you feel about maybe going out there and trying to beat Jeff and stopping him from 5 in a row at Dover next week?
As far as I know, he's pretty good at Dover, as he is with most tracks. Now, I think we're starting to finally figure this car out. What I need to do, how I need to drive it, what it likes. So I think that'll help going into Dover. I know Dover is really big at conserving the right front. I've been good there in the past, so I'm hoping I can take some of the things I've learned and apply it and give him another run for his money. If it's another race like tonight, I mean, eventually I'm going to come out on top. So we just gotta keep him honest and it'll happen one of these times.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time there, Brody. Does anybody want to give a shout out to before we send you on your way, probably off to Homestead out there soon this weekend?
Yeah, we're gonna take old Raja Caruth to Homestead and try to get him his first win of the year. But no, thank you to you guys in the booth as always. This one's gonna be a good one to go back and watch. All our partners that put on the broadcast, BTDY, VSPEED, everybody that makes this happen. Tuesday nights are a lot of fun, especially when you have races like this. So yeah, thanks to you guys, and we'll go get them next week.
Absolutely, man. Well, we appreciate your time, Brody. Wish you best of luck this weekend at Homestead, and we look forward to seeing you next week out at Dover.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good one, Brody. Thank you. That's Brody Hayes, the 2nd place finisher, to the man of the hour once again. 10th race win this season, 4th in a row. Logan, I believe you're in victory lane standing with our winner.
Yeah, I've got Jeff right down here after doing some celebratory donuts in turn 1. Jeff, first and foremost, congratulations on 4 in a row. Congratulations on 10 on the season. That is an outrageous statistic here for the BTDY Racing League. And, I mean, just bask in the glory, I guess, for now. But I guess really most importantly, I want to know, what was the fuel like coming to the end of the race? Brody had mentioned with his interview with Alec there that battling while trying to save fuel. Had a couple other drivers throughout the field that were trying to save fuel, hoping that you two wouldn't make it. What was it looking like in the cockpit of the 48 machine?
Yeah, it was really tight. I mean, from the drop of the green, after the stage, we knew that we were probably about a lap to a lap and a half short. And so I kind of had to change my approach, from the first stint. The first stint I was using lower gears and, shifting down to second more often. And the, second half there, I was really having a short shift in a lot of places. And so, and Brody was too. You could definitely tell the areas that both of us were having to save. So it kind of turned it into kind of a weird race in a way, just because, having to grab the higher gears in spots that you normally wouldn't, just to be able to save the fuel, and then kind of play that cat and mouse game when, I could see Brody back off a little bit, and then I knew that, okay, I could back off a little bit, but then just try to manage the gap, so that, he wouldn't get close enough to make a move, and then also try to, not run myself out of fuel. So it was a tough race for sure. Brody was really, really fast. I think, if this wasn't a fuel mileage race, he probably wins this, just because I think he had the outright speed on us tonight. But I think the key to the win there was just being able to get the lead out of that. The last restart, I was able to get a good jump coming to that start, and was able to clear him going up the S's. And then I felt like I was in a pretty good spot, because I knew how hard it was going to be to pass tonight.
You're saying that dirty air was a big effect for the car behind, and clean air obviously being a major role in the win tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Car always feels so much better when you got it out front. The only thing I was kind of thinking of, if, I did not get the lead, was maybe, sticking by him would save a little bit of fuel. I don't think it would have been much. We were both so tight tonight on fuel. I think we both ran out pretty shortly there after the checkered flag, but it definitely made for an interesting race for sure.
It absolutely did. It was a fun one to watch from up here. We see you typically up here towards the front on most road course races, but you had your hands full with the 37 tonight. But Jeff, again, congratulations, 4 in a row, 10 on the season. Surely you got somebody to say thanks to for the performance tonight.
Yeah, big thanks to VSPEED. You guys up in the booth, you guys do awesome work, and we're so fortunate to have a group of guys like you call our events, and league admins, everybody here at BTDY that makes this thing happen, and all the sponsors. We couldn't do it without them as well. Try to name them all off here. KHIO, for the race, but then all the other sponsors, Affinity for Gaming, Up There Disc Golf, Silver Terra Magic, Icon Apparel. So everybody that makes these BTDY events happen on Tuesday night, we just say thank you.
Awesome. Well, go celebrate, Jeff. We'll see you next week whenever it comes to probably the longest track on the schedule, 2.45 miles down to Dover.
All right, we'll see you there.
Have a good one, buddy.
You as well. We'll see you. Thank you, boys.
That's Jeff Wright, your winner here tonight. 4 in a row, 10 races on the season. What a race we saw. What a great battle for the win we saw there, Logan. And looking forward to getting out to Dover. It's going to be a unique race there. And, can Jeff Wright go 5 in a row is going to be the question.
It's going to be a tall order, but he is on a hot streak. He's got all the momentum that he could want right now. I don't see any reason why we don't see that 48 contending for another win, make it 11 on the season, 5 in a row, however you want to see it. Dude is on a tear right now.
He sure is. And again, for all those that have watched, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you to all the sponsors that continue to sponsor here at BTDY, and everybody at BTDY for all that they do. And of course, for you viewers watching, again, couldn't do it without you guys. And for those that aren't subscribed or haven't tuned in, again, to all the racing series, subscribe to VSPEED, turn on that notification bell, and be able to tune into all the great broadcasts that VSPEED has to offer. And for BTDY, we'll be right back here next week from Dover, Delaware at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to find out if Jeff Wright can win 5 in a row. But until then, have a great week. Enjoy the week of racing, and we will see you next week from the Dover Raceway.